Hey, what's up you awesome dudes, welcome back to No Man's Sky. Today we have another mod list and of course I'm going to show you some of the best graphical changes that you can apply to this game. Right now I'm going to show you 8 graphical mods that you can apply to No Man's Sky and it's gonna change your game significantly. Of course all of these are only available for the PC crowd, so if you're like a console player, unfortunately this will not be available to you, at least at the time of making this video. So without further ado, let's get to the list. Coming up first we have Shadex Generation, a mod that significantly enhances the flora in No Man's Sky. It does so by not just creating more diverse and dense environments, but also by significantly increasing the size range of all the plants, trees and minerals. I'm not really certain if the mod author is using external models or the ones already existing in the game files, but the mod itself is very vanilla friendly and nothing feels out of place when using it. Upon installing this, one of the first things you'll notice is the forest areas being much denser and bigger than the ones in the normal gameplay. There are even tweaks made so that the inner parts of forest areas are realistically larger compared to the outskirts, which typically hold smaller trees and vegetation. The spawn distance is also very good with this one, so you can see the trees spawning as far as the eye can see. With the exception of the weird and barren worlds, this mod will affect literally every other biome out there, and it does so by perfectly blending the spawned props with the existing planet color palette. It even goes as far as combining certain elements from weird biomes into normal ones. For example, with this mod you can find lush or paradise planets that can also spawn bubbles or beams, shards or other props that are typically available only on weird biomes. I haven't personally found one of these in the current playthrough. I did have it in Atlas Rises, but yeah, it's just a 10% chance, so you might not find it as often as you might think. It brings a nice touch though, especially if you're a fan of those effects, and it definitely makes worlds feel a little bit more diverse in this way. The mod itself also comes with several presets for varying degrees of density. There's a low, a medium and a high one. Personally, I haven't seen a huge FPS drop even using the high one, but if you have concerns in this regard, then you can definitely go ahead and use low, because it will definitely make your planets much more lusher while keeping a very good performance. I think it's also a little bit more realistic if you go with the low preset, but that's just a matter of taste, so you can go ahead and do whatever you want. I will also want to mention another mod over here that goes very well together with Shadex Generation, and that is of course Big Things, and this is the one that will affect your environment the most, as it will make literally everything out there much bigger. So for example, if you have trees with Big Things 4, this will make it even bigger than before, and it will make all of your planets feel generally just lushier than ever before. As I've said, it works very well together with Shadex Generation, so you can apply Shadex Generation for additional props like trees and plants and all of that, and with Big Things it will increase that even more and make them larger, bigger, denser, and it just brings that beautiful feeling that you probably have been looking for in No Man's Sky for quite some time. Personally, I think this combination is absolutely perfect. I'm running Shadex Generation on medium as well as Big Things 4, and my planets literally never looked as good as this. But do keep in mind that if you use these together, they will severely impact your frame rates. I'm not sure how much it will be on yours, but on my system it's somewhere around 5 to 10 frame rates, so it's definitely gonna be a noticeable impact. Moving over, the water in No Man's Sky is one of those things that keep looking horrendous no matter how many changes Hello Games are trying to apply and no matter how many improvements they are bringing in the game, but luckily enough we have 2 very good mods that will change that for the better. First, I'm going to start off with the mod that will fix all of this, and it comes in the name of Coastal Waters. As the name implies, this mod greatly improves the water rendering around the coast areas for better and smoother transitioning. It does so by removing the horrendous white foam around the edges and bringing it a little bit more clear and clean water around the coastlines. But what I personally recommend is yet another water mod that goes very well in hand with this one. If you want to improve the water textures even more, of course I'm talking about the Crystal Clear Water mod, and this is probably by far my favorite one currently. It changes entire bodies of water to look more clean, and with a slight little tint change that it adds, it makes it so that the water in No Man's Sky is now a little bit more tropical. well. As a matter of fact, it will make vast oceans look more tropical than ever before because it has a very nice little blue greenish tint to it. I personally am a big fan of these two mods, and I generally feel that water in this game is very badly made, and it will even make it so that water looks very good from the distance. From what I've seen, there's no performance impact, so I greatly advise you to go ahead and install this. There's literally no other change that it applies except for the textures themselves, so trust me, it's definitely worth it. Many of you might have been disappointed to see that the clouds once presented in the launch trailer were much more crisp and better looking compared to the blurry mess that we currently have in the final release. I've already covered cloud textures in the previous video, and I still urge you to continue using the better HD clouds mod as well as the rotating atmospheric shaders, but today I have another mod that significantly improves the cloud textures in the game, and it's called 2020 Clouds by Rayrod. What this mod does is that it tries to copy the cloud textures that were once shown in the initial launch trailers, and it brings significant improvements to the in-game textures. It does so by making the clouds appearing more crisp and detailed compared to the blurry ones we have in the normal game, and it also brings various other quality of life changes, such as for example removing the clouds that stretch into the outer atmosphere and the ones that clip with your freighters. This mod is still a work in progress according to the author, but it brings a significant change compared to the normal default ones, and I urge you to also install these if you want some eye candy. I have actually never seen better skies than with this mod. I think these are by far the best ones currently available in the game. They also greatly improve like the transitioning of clouds, the animation, the speed. All of that is included in one single simple mod, and it's one of the best mods right now for No Man's Sky. Coming up at number 4, there's an awesome mod that will greatly improve your planetary experience. It's called Instructure Deposits, and what it does is it brings some very awesome alien structures around deposit areas or like resource depots. If you checked any of the previous E3 trailers, you would see that there are various alien structures that never made it into the final game. What this mod does is basically bringing those very structures back into the game to bring a little bit more eye candy to your exploration. This makes it so that several of the E3 alien buildings spawn near deposits, and it's all personalized depending on the type of system you're in. So Gex, Korvax and Viking systems all spawn different types of structures, with Korvax spawning alien rings, Viking those strange looking glowing plaques, and of course we also have Gex with different types of buildings. Nonetheless, these look very good, very high end, you can also interact with them, and they also have their own collisions. For example, the plaque that spawns in the Viking system also can be interactable, and at least in my case it gave me the option to pick up a multi-tool. It kinda behaves like a monolith, so it's pretty awesome to see this. It makes the scenes in No Man's Sky so much better, as now there's at least a bit more sense of mystery behind finding strange alien structures spawned at random parts in the planet. You might sometimes find clipping issues though, but this is expected since this update is quite new and there's like a work in progress with this mod. Nonetheless, it's like a very cool one, so go ahead and check it out. Coming up at number 5, we have another creature mod, and this is called Fantastic Beasts for Next. I already showcased a creature mod called Space Safari in a previous video, but that one brought a ton of changes, not only to just animals but behaviors and a few other gameplay stuff as well. If you're looking for something that only touches the creatures and nothing else, then Fantastic Beasts is definitely the one for you. This one only touches the number of spawn, the creature size and the behaviors to some extent without bringing anything else on top. This means that there's less chance for incompatibilities, while you can still have a much more packed environment compared to the vanilla one. What this mod does is basically it increases the number of creatures that typically spawn on planets. It also further increases the size of many of the creatures in the game and make them literally like giants. Many of the behaviors have been slightly changed, and now for example birds fly closer to the ground, they can also attack prey and so on. It even comes up with various options for how aggressive you want to set your creatures to be, so you can opt in to have like a more balanced behavior with predators and docile specimens like in the normal game, or you could choose for all of the creatures to attack you on sight for a more challenging gameplay. So if that's an area you found lacking with the base game, then this is definitely the mod for you. Coming up at number 6, we have a new and very high quality mod called Effects Overhaul. It was created by the author, which goes by the name of Travix, and what it does is that it's adding more debris and particle effects in the game, especially for certain encounters that were found lacking. One of the best examples in this regard is the one with the alien horrors. In the unmodded version of the game, the death animation is very poorly made, and upon killing such a horror, it simply disintegrates into a green cloud and not a single body part is being left. With the Effects Overhaul though, this drastically changes to a more gory and much more satisfying death animation. Alien horrors now die with much more style than ever before, and upon dying they also disintegrate into multiple body parts, leaving nothing but a mess behind. It's so satisfying in fact that this mod alone is the sole reason why I even visit abandoned posts anymore. These are not the only changes though, as you'll quickly realize all similar encounters were much improved. Even sentinel parts now disintegrate in much more detail than ever before. There are definitely way more body parts left behind, and there are several effects added to particles as well, so sparks left by bullets are not just higher detailed but also more visible and just better in general. As a matter of fact, after installing the Effects Overhaul mod, you'll never even look back to the vanilla experience ever again. And finally, we have probably one of the most successful mods that were available during the Atlas Rises era, and it finally got updated for the next update as well. Of course, I'm talking about the Crescent Waltz mod by Lawn Reality. What this mod does is that it tries to replicate the style of rendering that No Man's Sky had in the E3 trailers from back before 2016. It does so by changing the way planets are rendered when you are inside another atmosphere. While Hello Games changed the rendering style several times throughout all of the updates, including with the most recent next update, Crescent Waltz always kept a very good balance between fantasy and realism, at least in my opinion, and right now celestial bodies will continue to have that aura effect around them when checking them up in the sky, but also show a tiny little bit of detail when being close enough if you install this mod. Typically, you can only see the aura, but you can't really distinguish that much detail, but with Crescent Waltz it improves it by quite a lot by also bringing in a little bit more detail to it, and it definitely looks more realistic and more cinematic in my opinion. I think the mod itself is subtle enough while bringing quite a nice change you normally don't see in the vanilla game. So yeah, if you found the old trailers looking more appealing, especially when it came to planets, then this is definitely a very good mod to pick. Just keep in mind that there's a slight incompatibility with other mods, especially ones that change the lighting in No Man's Sky, so pay attention to the description. But this is basically all the time that we have for today. This is today's list of the best graphic mods available for No Man's Sky. Of course, these are not all of them. I'm going to make videos on the others that I'm using, and eventually I'll be going over my full mod list, because currently I'm using close to 40 mods and it's like super hard to make a single video of this. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, then a like and a subscribe would be super appreciated. Also subscribe to the channel if you didn't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. So peace.